Hello everyone, I've been gone for a little while working on a big video on a certain topic that you'll see very soon, but I felt compelled to talk about something that I've noticed lately, which is a large uptick in extremism in political discourse online, specifically Twitch and YouTube. As many of you know, Destiny has been unpartnered. This is a sign of the times where the political spectrum has sort of moved from conservatism online more towards leftism, which is good. In general, I agree with progressive ideology, and I'm a SOCDEM and all that cool, awesome stuff. You all know that I hate extremism, and a lot of the debate that I've seen lately surrounding certain topics that we'll get into is kind of disturbing. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where something like socialism is a big topic online that people talk about a lot? Today, consider this to be a short history lesson on internet debate, I guess. We're just going to break it down step by step, where we started and how we got here and what this all means, okay? At the turn of the last decade, the prevailing moneymaker online was atheism. Believe it or not, atheism was how many political commentators got their start, talking about atheism, anti-theism, things of that nature. Atheist YouTube was blowing up. So channels like the Amazing Atheist, Dark Matter 2525, Thunderfoot, Cult of Dusty, the list goes on and on. These people made entire careers about dunking on theology. What can I say? I'm a fan. So atheist YouTube quickly morphed into this sort of anti-feminist. So we move on to the feminist era of YouTube. From there, the anti-SJW period, which we should all be pretty familiar with at this point, rose to prominence. We see here this sort of atheist YouTube, anti-feminist YouTube, and anti-SJW YouTube kind of culminate. You could say that these were the Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, culminating to this Avengers level threat event that will be the subject of my next video, by the way. So now we enter 2016, which is, famously the year that the world ended, as we all know. 2016 was the final year in humanity. We've been living in a simulation since, just so if you're unaware. And then we have the Destiny jontron debate. And I've been thinking about covering this debate. There's not a whole lot to actually cover here other than its significance in Destiny's career and sort of the ensuing political debate era of YouTube that would come after this. Why do we see this political evolution online over time, and why do we see the top creators sort of move from one thing to the next? Well, to keep it short, it's all about money, and it's all about attention, and it's about how to keep your attention. What I'm saying is that there are many grifters on both sides of the aisle. So many conservative creators and many left creators don't fully buy into the stuff that they say. When you don't equip your audience with the tools to think for themselves and act rationally and make coherent arguments, you kind of end up with this group of people who move from one radical ideology to the next. So we see a lot of people who were deconverted, so to speak, from conservative thought or alt-right thought even, to this sort of amorphous middle ground. That same guy who might have been a part of the alt-right at one point, you might destroy all of his arguments, but you haven't attacked his actual feeling of, the world is a really messed up place and there's all this bad stuff going on. What he once misattributed to, say, minorities causing his ailments, now you've taken away all of those arguments, but you haven't actually taken away those ailments. Any extremist online approaches them and gives them a rhetorical cure, so to speak, for their problems. The issue with this is that at no point did they really think for themselves. They only listened to other people telling them what to think. The most loud individuals get the biggest audiences. So you're not going to see a middle ground perspective. Does this mean become a centrist? No. Centrism is ridiculous. And centrists are at fault for the exact same things that I'm criticizing the far right and the far left for, which is they pick the middle and they say the middle is where truth is, and the middle ground between all positions is what is true. That is not the case. Because, for example, if we have a abolitionist arguing for freeing slaves and we have a pro-slave debate, and you have a centrist who is dedicated to the rational center, and they say, okay, the middle ground between freedom and slavery is correct. No, I'm not saying become a centrist. What I'm saying is be neutral. Those are two different things. You can't let bias cloud your thinking. And when I hear someone like Vaush, for example, make this ridiculous argument about giving yourself over to the angry mob, okay? Look, I like him, and I made my last video on one of his debates that I watched that was really good. We have to be able to separate, however, the personality that we might like of the person and some of their, worse arguments. This is the only way forward, okay? There exists no good world where we fully accept a person's arguments, no matter the situation and no matter the debate topic. Continue arguing with alt-righters, but also maintain your reasonable position that voting matters and that change is possible within the system. Okay? Does that mean that whenever, the second that change does not become possible in the system, overthrow the system? No. It means try every option first before resorting to senseless violence. There needs to be at least a few sensible individuals who are capable of having reasonable argument without destroying relationships, without destroying the other person's career, without canceling every single person you disagree with. Argue with boomers while not becoming a doomer. Thanks for watching. Peace.